very deeply. And sometimes you want to almost spiritually become one with that thing. And maybe I wish I had made that film, or written a specific book, or painted a specific painting. And this is a way of reconciling oneself with that antagonist. Maybe to almost, in a shamanistic way, to draw it out of my own body, and mind and spirit, heart, yes.
And connected to that, what is your relationship with the book?
I have a quite sexual relationship to the book. I was very, to begin with the film, I was very young when I saw Fellini's material, and like I said, it blew me away. And then earlier on, I had, I think I was 11 or 12, I found a book called Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs in the library. And just the title Naked made me investigate it as a 12-year-old. And it completely blew me away, also because of its explicit drug-addicted and sexual content, which I, of course, as a 12-year-old had not even been a child of war in Iran. I hadn't read anything like that. So when I investigated, or when I saw the film Satyricon, I found a book, and I found an antique material that was equivalent almost to Burroughs' degenerate and dirty and honest mind. And the book is kind of like Naked Lunch by Burroughs, a naked description, not just of the Roman decadence of Emperor Nero's time, but also a detailed description of the daily life of the poor and of the fallen in the Roman Empire.
But in Fellini's movies, I mean, the movie is haunted by dreamlike images, by fantasies, by sexual symbols, by death, sacrifice. But it's never pornographic. It's never like there is no close-up on sexual intercourse. So there is no obvious nudity, and you choose also to be never totally explicit. Like it's a lot about suggestion. Why did you choose that treatment?
Well, I think pornography is very superficial and cheap, and I'm not very superficial and cheap. So I always like to cover things and hide it, and hence also give more to the viewer, because if I would be throwing pearls out of my asshole, I would not kind of give the viewer any chance to fantasize himself or herself. So fantasy is very important for me, which is a source of lust and sexuality, wherein open and frankness is a closed door.
And fantasy and ambiguity.
Yes, for sure.
Is very present.
For sure.
Yeah. In this piece, you are crossing all types of references: Hinduism, street art, urban culture, New Age, manga, among others. There are more. What is the point for you when dealing with all these type of references?
You're giving me a very interesting question, because it's also a door into my own personal history. It might sometimes seem that the gender issues in this play are politically motivated solo and only, but they're not. My own grandfather was dressed as a little girl to escape the Turkish massacre before the First World War. So war, and myself being born in war, and gender, having a girl's name, Karen, has always been very close to me, in different ways. And because of aggressional problems, I, as very young, investigated meditation and traveled in India and found Hinduism and tantric ways of thinking. But I was also a young man, so I am also a young man that loves clubbing and also understands that tradition has always new interpretations and new ways of living and dealing with itself. in that paradoxical way, capitalism and Hinduism are very close to each other. Because their aim of survival is to integrate all other things and cultures into themselves, like the Roman Empire also did. In Hinduism, you have over 100 gods. This god, well, you're welcome. This god, you're welcome. This, you're welcome as well. Like capitalism that incorporates even its own criticism into it. In Hinduism, Buddha is an example of how you should not be. So they even have integrated a sort of criticism into their own mythology, religious mythology. And I see going out clubbing, going out partying, a lot of spirituality and new spirituality and religious structures which are not connected to necessarily tradition, but maybe is an aim to create new traditions and mythologies. Satyricon, reflecting the Roman Empire, also in its book material reflects different religions, different cultures, different expressions. If you update that today, it will probably, in one way, my personal way, look like this. And also that has given me the chance to work with all these different people which have been close friends of mine and have contributed immensely to this project, with giving me an complete open trust, and hence making me trust them completely into this material as well.
Do you have any questions? Okay. No. I continue. You were talking about your collaborators, so it's an amazing constellation of artists from very different practices, professional and amateurs, as you mentioned earlier. And some of your collaborators, they have a very strong artistic signature, but what is kind of amazing when we see the work is that at some point the borders are disappearing between each of your collaborators' contributions, and it's melded together in a way. So I'm curious to know more about how you've been working together to at some point find this unity in what you are bringing on stage.
If you have a sort of aesthetical and scenographical viewpoint into something, then you can easily find allies and people that are similar in their way of thinking. And these people, like I said earlier, are close friends of mine, a lot of them at least, and I know what they can contribute and they know what I am thinking. And that collaboration, that way of collaborating has always been very important for me, because it also gives me the safety and them the safety, and puts friendship to challenge, and creates a friction that can create newer horizons and viewpoints for our collaborations. It is not an easy job, because there are very different people with different viewpoints, and it's very difficult to solve this together. So I'm happy that you see or think that it is kind of a one melted picture.
Maybe a last question before we continue drinking and maybe dancing. Eros and Thanatos, they often go in pairs, in a pair. Next to eroticism, there is death. I would say that this dialectic is very present in your work. How do you approach this relationship between eroticism and death?
Orgasm is a little death, and like you said earlier as well. And again, going back to William Burroughs and his writings, where he connects for example, a ritual of hanging with rebirth. But the ritual of hanging someone also is a very sexual ritual, because all the muscles in the body constrain themselves, and in the male physical body you have a physical ejaculation at that time. And that is quite a sexual happening, you could say, for the physical body. And I am all fascinated how death and lust and feelings can be connected towards each other and sometimes merged into one image, even though there are contrasts towards each other. Sex is something that creates life, which is the opposite of death. And hence merging them two gives a third way of thinking or viewpoint. And specifically in this play, also it's a fictional metaphor I'm using for power and misusing what is weaker than yourself, which is quite evident in some of the scenes of the play, where the actor Nikgol is mistreating the Mahandri Vardhana, or the actor, the sex buyer is called, is mistreating Jito as a sort of a symbol of how someone can have a feeling of power in meeting with something that is weaker than in itself, than in oneself.
Any question? Still no question? So I think we're gonna close the discussion now, and we can continue it informally. Karen is here, so you can ask him any question you have on a more private setting. And if you want to explore more about the work, I invite you to read a text that is published in a brochure written by Feng, who is dramaturge for this work. So it gives also other insights in the work. Thank you. Enjoy the evening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.